everybody. I'm David Neagle, and welcome to another episode of the Successful Mind Podcast. Today, I want to talk to you about the power of awareness in the idea of success as a principle or a state of the way that you actually live your life. Sometimes I go back to thinking about the confusion that I was in before I began to become aware and start understanding some very basic principles about success itself. And one of the confusing things that I remember at the time was that I was in very bad situations, of course, that I had created unconsciously. In those situations, I kept thinking to myself that the only way to get out of these situations was to work hard, or it had to be hard, or I had to suffer, or I had to sacrifice greatly in a negative way type of thing. I had no concept of the word awareness or awareness in my consciousness, or where the location, now hear me, where the location of success actually exists. As I began to study, and my first go around with studying was a 7-year period of immersion, basically. Every free moment that I had, I was listening to books on tape and seminars on tape and speeches of great people and reading biographies and autobiographies. I was looking for someone that had some information that could really help me think the way that I needed to think, kind of train me to think. I knew that there was something there for myself in my life, but I didn't know how to get to it. And when you don't know, that's lack of awareness, and you do what you think you need to do in order to become successful. And basically, that's doing what everybody else around you is doing. Or we make another error. We look at people that we think are successful because they have all the things that we associate with success. We get convinced that, and I would say unconsciously convinced also, we get convinced that if we have those things, we'll be successful. This is why when the average person sits down and they set goals for themselves, the goals are filled with everything that they think they want in life, right? The houses, the cars, the jewelry, the watches, the travel, the beautiful people. It's always about the things. And I'm not saying that the things are bad in any way. However, they're approaching it from the idea of this is what I need to acquire, and this is what will make me successful. I'm like, in other words, I'll be successful when I have these things. The things that we want, though, are really a representation of something much bigger and much more profound. And that is the desire inside of ourselves to manifest a life which we truly want. I think that any person who's a thinking person, if they were literally to sit down and they were to analyze their life, where they were, where they are now, and where they would like to go for the rest of their life, and they were to take in all considerations, right? That probably the number one thing that they would actually think about is, how could life be peaceful and adventurous and loving and fun and creative and opportunistic? Like, I don't have to worry about what I don't have in order to get the things that I want to have. All resources are abundantly provided. If that was the fundamental foundation of what you were to think about with a vision or a goal for yourself, you would come to a really interesting realization. And the realization is that those things already exist inside of you, but you're associating them with things outside of you in order to think that the things inside of you will come to fruition. In other words, I'll be peaceful and happy and fun and adventurous when I've got the Ferrari or whatever it is that the person wants. And again, not that the Ferrari or any of those things are bad in any way. Like, if you want them, go have them, go be them, go get them, do whatever it is that you want. What is the approach then, though, right? If I have to go get all these things outside of me in order to be successful, That requires that I have to do something different than I'm doing now in order to get them. That probably means that I'm going to have to make a lot more money. And I begin to look at opportunities with the idea of, well, what's going to make me more money so that I can go get all of these things? Instead of asking a much more profound question, what would I love to do day in and day out in my life? What would bring me an overall peace in my life? Like I felt peaceful doing something. And it was also adventurous. And it was also inspiring. And I also got to meet great people or be around people that I loved or do things that are just so fun that every day when I wake up, it was like when I was a little kid waking up before Christmas or some grand adventure that we were going to go on. Can you remember days like that when you were a kid where you couldn't wait for the thing that was coming tomorrow morning? Where did that go? That's a hell of a question to ask yourself. Why is it that we have to grow up into adults and we can't live with that expectation of our life for what it is that we actually want? See, that is a lack of awareness. Opening up awareness, becoming aware, is to realize that all of those things, well, let's look at it like this. When you were a little kid and you had one of those experiences where you were just so excited about the next day, the experience that you were having was actually inside of yourself, right? It was in the potential outcome of whatever it is that you were going to do the next day. And you were crazy excited about what it is that you wanted to do. You were also probably horrifically disappointed if the next day you found out that you couldn't do it for whatever reason. The key is that both of those experiences are happening inside of yourself. So if we asked ourselves a question, instead of what is going to earn me the most money, if we change the question and said, what is it that I love to do? This question is simple, but it can be complicated based on where you are when you're hearing this idea. I've often said to people that there's no question that there is a bit of a problem when it comes to a person waking up as an adult and realizing that they made a wrong turn in their life. This happened with me. I got married. I had children. I didn't have an education. I didn't have any skill sets. And I ran in face to face, right into a brick wall. With one of the problems was I didn't have the ability to live up to the responsibility that I had committed to. The other thing was that I hated what I was doing. And it was because I had no forethought into any of those ideas. I came from a family that just grew up and went to work. And you went to work with something that, well, I could see myself doing that, and you could probably make a pretty good living. You could raise a family on that type of thing. There was no future thought as to what do you want to do with the rest of your life and who do you need to start to become in order to prepare for it. So as adults, and I mostly work with adults, at some point in their life, they wake up to this and then they go, oh shit, now what do I do? Because they have a whole ton of responsibilities that also has a tremendous amount of momentum moving in a direction. And they think to themselves, there's no way I could do what I love to do, if they actually know what that is when you first get presented with the question, because I have bills and I have responsibilities and I have a family. Or I feel like I'm too old. I can't turn around now. I'm 50 or 60 or 70 or whatever it is that's going on in that person's mind. Now, the truth is, it's nonsense from the perspective of that you can't turn it around. You absolutely can turn it around. Does it take some serious dedication to be able to do so? Absolutely. It totally does. However, it's imperative that the person views what it is that they want with the right level of consciousness in order to make the turn. Because if a person tries to make that turn in their life with the consciousness that got them into the situation to begin with, they will only complicate it and make a mess out of it, trying to make the turn to go to do something that they love to do. And then it's like, how many times have we heard, you can't make money doing what you love. You got to find something that's going to actually make the money. Well, that's not true either. And I've never seen anybody that could honestly tell me something that they truly love to do where there was not a way to make money doing it. Now, there is a difference between what a person really loves to do and sometimes what they think they love to do. Because I will get presented with the question like, well, what if what I love to do is to sit on the couch and watch Netflix all day? That's not what you love to do. You've reassociated in your mind that you love to do that because it's giving you an escape from things that you don't really want to do. Perhaps you haven't found what you really love to do yet, and then you need to go on that adventure first. But in either case, I have never once seen or heard of somebody where they tap into their true desire of why they're here, what they really love to do, and that there's not an ability to make money doing it. That is an awareness. Now, the question is why? Why would that be true? Because you're here for a purpose. Your purpose was created before you were born. You came into this life to fulfill that purpose. And we don't fulfill the purpose by looking at life and going, well, I got to do all these terrible things that I don't want to do. We may have been led down that road, but that's not what the truth is. The truth is that human beings, just like all of nature, is led to their purpose through desire. It's actually through the mode of something that we love, that we're infatuated with, that we think is an adventure, that we can't stop thinking about. Sometimes I call it a magnificent obsession. That is what's leading us to our purpose. The desire that we follow that's in our heart is leading us to our purpose. Now, it's very true that there's a lot of kids that get that desire shut down. It's not removed, but it can be shut down through various different experiences they have in their childhood. Now, while we may have had no control over that as a child, because as a kid, everybody else has authority around you but you, as an adult, you may be in the situation of having that experience, but it's still your responsibility to change it, and you can change it. So one of the first things that I would think about is, what do I love to do? And if I don't know, I would start asking my subconscious mind, show me what I love. Now, that might sound silly to some of you, but I can assure you it's a very accurate statement, and here's the reason why. Everything that you need to know in order to accomplish what you want is already in you right now. When I worked with my mentor years ago, the late Bob Proctor, he used to tell people all the time, including me, you already know what you want to do, you're just not doing it. And I remember the first few times I heard him say that, and I was in an audience, in a seminar, and I would think to myself, well, that's not true for me. I don't know what I want to do. That's why I'm here. I have no idea what I want to do. And if I did know what I want to do, I would be doing it. And that wasn't true either. The reason for that is because we have been taught you can't have it all. You can't really do in life what you really want to do. Most of us were raised by parents that were unconscious to that idea. So they gave us their interpretation of what life was. That's not good or bad. It just is. That doesn't make your parents bad parents. It's just what it is. A parent can't pass down to you what they don't have. So they give you the best of what they've got, even if for some people, for some kids, it's not good, right? There is a momentum in a person's life. They're either on a track to doing good or they're on a track that's not doing good. And if they have children, they're going to pass down whatever track that they're on unless they wake up or somebody helps them and they're able to turn it around. Now, that's all I'm going to say about that for now, because the important point is that the thing that you want to do exists inside you. We very often go through life trying various different things to try to find out what that is, right? And but when if you took that approach, okay, would it not be that you would recognize it by the idea that you liked it, even if it was challenging? That there was some attraction to that thing for you? Absolutely. That's exactly how you would recognize that you liked it. But there's another way to find out. And that is to give your subconscious the permission to tell you what it is or put you in that direction. Because the only reason your subconscious mind would kind of bar that off from you is that if in your childhood, it wasn't safe to go down that road. And what I mean by safe, like you could take that any way that you want. I don't know you. I don't know what your experience is, but I guarantee you it will be equal to whatever your experience is in your childhood. The problem is that kids naturally go after what they want, and parents shut that down when they can't do it or they can't provide for it or they think it's outside of the value system or what a child needs to be when they grow up. So the majority of kids get that shut off. Again, it's not that it's not there. It's that their subconscious mind gets the message, it's not okay to think about this anymore. You better get realistic with life. You better get disciplined. You better get focused on what you need to do to take care of yourself. After all, you're going to be an adult soon, or you might have a family, and you have to be able to provide and be responsible, and on and on and on and on and on with that. There are people that and I would say that I had this experience myself, where I was looking around my life through the lens of my consciousness at the time, and I couldn't really see anything that I loved to do. And I was so bogged down with responsibility and working that there was no time, nor was there the finances to go out there and start experimenting with things at that stage of my life to try to find out what I wanted to do. So I didn't know how to get that answer. What I did do was study, and it was the studying that led me to the answer. But what is the answer? How do we find that answer out? Your subconscious mind will do exactly what it is that you tell it to do if you do it repeatedly. If you're persistent with it, it will open up the conscious doors to the universe right inside of yourself. If you start asking yourself or saying or giving your subconscious a command, I should say, tell me what it is that I want to do. Show me the desires of my heart. Show me my purpose in life. And you're persistent with that message. I mean, many times a day, and this is a big and, you have to really want to know. Some people are afraid to know because it's kind of like, if I knew, I would have to change what I'm doing. What do I do with that if I actually know? You don't need to be concerned with that right now, because our job, our greatest power in life, is our ability to choose. God's job is to show you how. There's no need to show you, nor will you be shown how, until you become aware of it inside of yourself and you make a decision that you're going to pursue it. And yes, you can do it on your own time and your own pace. But if you start asking yourself now, you begin to change the awareness inside of yourself. There is a completely different world right in front of you, but most of us can't see it because we live within the blind spot of our own belief system. Like money, for instance. Most of the people on the planet have no idea that they're a breath away from all the money they could possibly want to do whatever it is that they want to do in their life. But because they don't know it, it might as well be 1,000,000 miles away or not even exist for them, or to the point that they have so many beliefs about making money or having money that they make it wrong so that they never have to consider what it would be like to have it. And every other resource that's available to human beings is available to you. You don't have to go do something to receive it. You have to be aware of it to receive it. Now, if you want to know more about that, take a look at an upcoming event that we have called The Art of Success that's going to be in October. You can either go to our website, or I'm sure that you receive some marketing materials on it in an email. If you get an email from us, you can go to our website and sign up for an email, lifeisnowinc.com or davidneagle.com, and we'll make sure that we get you the information. But this is knowledge that once you wake up to it, you don't go backwards. Right? This is not something you can lose because it's part of who you are. It's the reason that you're here. Life can be absolutely amazing if you truly want it to be, and you're able to open up some of those awareness doors in your mind. I'll see you on the next episode.